my name is Alicia Arnold, and I am in Miss Kathleen Miller's History 2 class. It's October 20th, 2014. This is about President Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson was born to be a president. He was very motivated. Even as a young child, he had a desire to get along with others and be peaceful. Mr. Wilson wasn't afraid of bucking the system to fight for what he believed in. He never gave up on his desire to live in a peaceful world. As the economy was going under, he never looked down on the poor and homeless. It made his desire to help others live in a free world that was protected from banks going under and their money being taken. He fought for the working men and women. Will you agree with the measures he took, or will you agree that wars will continue to be fought? Thomas Woodrow Wilson was the 28th President of the United States. He was born December 28, 1856, in Staunton, Virginia. His family heritage is actually from Ireland. He was a year old when his family moved to Augusta, Georgia. Then they later moved to Columbia, South Carolina. Wilson attended Davidson College, where later he transferred to Princeton University, where he graduated in 1879. He went to the University of Virginia Law School and received a Ph.D. from Johns Hopkins University. Wilson then taught at Marr College, where he met and married his wife Ellen Axon, with whom he had 3 daughters, Eleanor, Jessie, and Margaret Wilson. In 1890, Wilson became a professor at Princeton, and then later he was the university president. He later became governor of New Jersey in 1910, where he shared his view against progressive reform. In 1910, Mr. Wilson won the Democratic nomination to be the governor of New Jersey. He promised to wipe out corruption and offer protection for the union workers. The working class men and women voted for him because he didn't look down on them. In 1912, Wilson became the Democratic president candidate, selecting Thomas Marshall, the governor of Indiana, as his running mate. Wilson was elected President of the United States in 1912. His inauguration was on March 4, 1913. Wilson's administration is defined by his actions during World War I. He was the first Democratic elected president since Grover Cleveland. He didn't follow other presidents' leads because he wasn't focused on pleasing everyone in politics. He fought for the people. Even as World War I began, he tried to hold out and keep the peace, but unfortunately he failed. One of Wilson's greatest achievements was the Federal Reserve Act in 1913, because it created a system where the framework for regulating our nation's money supply, credit, and banking. People's money became safe and it wouldn't be lost if the bank had to shut down. He also voted with legislation to put controls to ensure that large businesses and unions would receive fair treatment. On May 17th, the British ocean liner, the Lusitania, which was a ferry for people and goods to be shipped across the Atlantic Ocean and through the United States and Great Britain. The ship was sunk by a German U-boat. Around 1,260 people were killed, and 128 of them were Americans. The event spurred the nation to officially enter World War I. The cartoon here makes fun of Wilson's reaction to the sinking of the Lusitania. It was actually drawn by Dr. Seuss, who began his career as a political cartoonist. Wilson ran for re election in 1916, and one of his campaign slogans was, "He kept us out of the war." One of his buttons read, "Peace with honor." He was anti war, and that is what got him re elected for the second time by a small margin. This is a quote from the Flag Day speech. "As I see the winds lovingly unfold the beautiful lines of our great flag, I shall seem to see a hand pointing the way of duty, no matter how hard, no matter how long, which we shall tread while we vindicate the glory and honor of the United States." President Wilson proposed the 14 points at the Paris Peace Conference. Wilson hoped that it would prevent further wars and that he could make a call to all of the states for peace rather than more death and fighting. However, he was mocked and everyone made fun of him because some of the points were a little outrageous. This cartoon shows President Wilson being made fun of because his views for peace did little to resolve the war. George Clemenceau of France openly made fun of President Wilson's 14 points by commenting that God only had 10 commandments. Also seen is a political cartoon placing Wilson and his 14 SWATs in the infamous Washington cherry tree tale. "Father, I cannot tell a lie. I did it with my 14 SWATs." Woodrow Wilson was ultimately awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for Peace for his efforts in constructing the League of Nations. His prize is pictured in the slideshow. Wilson died at the age of 67 on February 3, 1924, and is buried in the Washington National Cathedral. All of the research shows that President Wilson was not afraid of conflicts, but he always tried to handle them peacefully. Through many years of hard work, he was able to change the world, and many of the changes are still active to this day. Thank you.